G'day. This is just a little bonus bit that I've put together. I've realised that I've been doing these YouTube clips for about 3 months, and a couple of people asked some questions, and so I thought I'd try and provide a little bit more information on the things they've asked questions about. Not terribly much more, because I'm sort of running sometimes at the limit of my understanding, but just to give a bit more information to those people who've had a look and liked what they saw. First up is the shear tool that I talked about when I was doing my shaft video. And it didn't show very well, but if you can see here, if I can get the camera just right, that's sitting on the top face of the tool, and so there's a considerable angle as you see it from left to right, and the idea is that the middle of the tool is the bit doing the cutting, so the rest of it is just basically ramping the material away from the tool. This might help it be understood a little bit better too. Imagine that this is my round stock, and the curved end of the ruler here is my shear tool. I've got it slightly exaggerated, but as you can see, that's on something like a 45-degree angle. And so if that were turning, and I've been need to be turning from left to right here, but if that were turning, that would be, rather than pushing the chips up, that would be sort of shunting them to one side, and that's what we saw in that shaft turning video when I showed you the chips there, was that they were a sort of a curl. A bit like that, and that gives you a much smoother finish. This is a pantograph IM3, I think the model number is engraver. Runs off a little single phase motor running at something like 7,000 RPM. That belt drives a spindle here, where there's a D-bit cutter down here to engrave things. There's a vise which can be used to clamp things. There's also adjustment in 3 axes plus rotational, so you can put things on an angle or position things exactly where you want them. And in the indicator disc video, I used the rotational stage to turn things around, but you can also engrave in straight lines and however you like. The drive is pretty simple. It's a small endless belt on a curved face pulley there, which drives through to the spindle here. The belt is kept tension by there's a spring here in this shaft, so that will keep tension. So as the spindle is being moved around, you'll see the arm move back and forth. These are the cutting bits it uses. They're just a straight D bit with a conical tip on it. You can also get a diamond drag version of this, but that seems too much like hard work to me, so I just use the D bits. What you engrave is entirely up to you. These have got movable brass type, which you can undo, put in whatever words you like, and then tighten up again. And the way it works is that the stylus will then trace around those, so see getting in there, will trace around the letters, and that will be mirrored by the pantograph mechanism here and engrave onto your sample. The pantograph mechanism is adjustable from 2 to 1 up to 7 to 1. So I will adjust, I'll measure the height of the letters, work out what I want, work out what the scale factor is, and adjust the pantograph to suit. You don't have to use just the brass letters. These are some numbers I made up in plastic. A friend of mine was admiring the lettering on a piece of equipment and wanted to know whether it could be duplicated, so based on a photo I made these up, and they're just a bit of plastic. The other thing you can do is logos, and this is an organisation I do some work for. We make gadgets for people with disabilities and who are aging, and so this is a piece of PVC. I've engraved the logo on here, and now I can use this. If I clamp that on with some G-clamps, I can use that to engrave the logo onto pieces of well, metal or plastic, whatever the need is. In use, the method I use is, first of all, I'll line up where I want my letters to go by using the top and the bottom positions of the letters to work out where I am on my sample piece. Similarly, I'll go left to right to make sure I'm in the right spot. Once I've done that, if I'm using aluminium, I might smear that with some candle wax just as a lubricant, but apart from that, once I've done that, it's then a matter of turning on the power switch and then tracing some letters. So as you can see, a replica, but 1/4 scale. So it's quite a versatile little machine, and for doing this sort of thing. I use it for engraving graduations on dials, as I said, putting logos on pieces of things I make, and just doing general bits and pieces. But yes, a pantograph engraver. This one goes by the brand name of Gravergraph. New Hermes is another one. These letter sets occasionally come up on eBay, as do the machines. These days I think people have gone to computers, and so they don't bother with the manual processes. And that's where this one came off Gumtree, I think it was. Yeah, it's an interesting little bit of kit to have in the workshop.
On the Gravergraph and the shear tool. So thanks for watching, spread the word, and thanks to those who've inspired me.